Hello everyone, this is RaySpace and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, where I'm going to try out the Captain Sim Space Shuttle in here. Even though it's not officially compatible with this version of the sim, it's only compatible with Flight Sim 2020, so no issues are going to be the fault of Captain Sim. However, I have already loaded a flight with it just to check that it isn't a complete dud, and it does do something. I certainly didn't fly it for very long, but since it did something, I decided that that was interesting enough that it might be worth a video, and might be of interest to other people contemplating it. It is available for $18 off of the Captain Sim website. To answer some other questions, I don't know whether it's going to be released anywhere else. That's up to Captain Sim. Presumably it'll be on the marketplace, but I don't know if it's going to be available for consoles or not or anything like that. It does require some special coding potentially. In the previous video, I made a mistake. I was complaining about the passenger voices. That actually wasn't the mod. I don't think, at least. Given the fact that it doesn't make those sounds in here. It must be some other mod, possibly GSX, which I had only recently got for Flight Sim 2020, so I wasn't aware of its features, and I haven't been flying Flight Sim 2020 that much. I got GSX because it's eventually going to be fully updated for Flight Sim 2024. I was planning to use it here, not there. So I didn't have any experience with it, so sorry about that. That was not the fault of Captain Sim. Though having voices in the set scenarios might be a good idea. But yeah, that was not a problem with the space shuttle. There were other problems with it, like the color of the leading edges, but I'm not going to go over that in here. We're going to see how it works. So it does appear. That's the first most important thing. So if we type in shuttle, we've got that. When we configure it, we've got deliveries. But worrisomely, it doesn't seem to collide with the ground on the main landing gear. So that's a concern, but we'll see if that's actually the problem in flight. But deliveries are here. That's Columbia. I want Atlantis. Okay. Actually, it's looking pretty good in here. Yeah, it's looking pretty good in here. Fuel, well, it doesn't need fuel. Total mass seems right. Seats. It's got 2 seats. That's what it had in 2020 as well. Technically, it should have more, but we'll just leave that be for now. This is the test version. Well, technically Atlantis wasn't tested with 2 people, but anyway, let's set that aside for now. Okay, so I'm going to click here and set departure, and we'll see what happens. It seems to be zooming us to Florida anyway, so that part of it is still the same. We're definitely over Florida and seem to be very high up, not 6,000 feet or something. Here it seems to start in a more paused situation compared to in 2020. But the first thing to note is that the displays are a little bit faded, and the second thing to note is that the autopilot is not active and not functional. It's only on the control stick. So we're already in control, and we are at 275,000 feet, you can see there. And our speed is decreasing, so I'm gonna trim down and try to control roll. It's very finicky though, as you might expect. So we're actually in full control right from the start. The altitude is not reading proper in the corner there. And we're falling like a rock. Vertical speed is reading proper there. Well, I mean, it's not, it shouldn't be positive, it should be negative. But it's better than what I've got on the tape in here. We still seem to be at 275,000 according to the tape there, which is a little bit interesting. Let me continue to pitch down. Our altitude does not seem to be changing there. I think we were actually going up still. And now we're going down. It's still not going down from 275,000. Am I ever going to go down? Now the trim out there is saying negative 43%, which is interesting. But the trim seems to change very quickly here. It didn't seem to do that in Flight Sim 2020. We are increasing speed now. So this is all very interesting, I think you'll agree. We're plunging down, in theory, according to the vertical speed indicator, and we're increasing in speed, but we're not decreasing in altitude either on this tape or out there. It's a bit rough to handle it. Honestly, if I can go down at all, we could get to the Cape. We certainly have enough height. That part's no problem. But can we go down? That's the problem. Oh, now the tape is going. Now we're losing height here. Oh wait. Oh, now it's on auto. Now I can't control it. Okay. Well, it has decided to take control, folks. I am not in control anymore. Let's see what happens. We are very definitely dropping precipitously, and so the vertical speed indicator in the corner there is definitely wrong. The altitude here seems more right than the oh, well, now that one's changing. I still think I have a better shot at landing it here than I did in Flight Sim 2020. But we do need to, like, stop falling straight down at some point. Would like this dot height, the vertical speed indication in here, to be a little bit more right. Now, is it going to give me control at 50,000 feet or not? Also, I don't think we're ever gonna get the HUD bright enough, so that's gonna be a bit of a problem. It still looks a lot better in here. This is more of the trajectory I would expect, especially if we're going to do some energy management turns. $52,000. $51,000. That vertical speed indicator in the bottom right isn't right. It's got its own sort of rate going. Okay, it did give me control again. So we're in business. We're here. And yeah, I actually probably would like to burn off speed. Though, considering I kept missing the runway last time, maybe I should just go straight in. We're not at Mach 1 or anything. But this is actually more the location I was expecting. Maybe some other mod was messing it up in Flight Sim 2020. I have so much stuff in Flight Sim 2020 that's hard to say. The HUD's not working though. Now let's see, they normally came down at 20-degree angle. We're going at 500 knots. We're steep. I'm just trying to think whether I should do heading alignment, but I deployed the air brakes, but it doesn't seem like the sound happened, but I think the effect has happened. We did slow down. The ailerons are sort of permanently down a bit, regardless of my trim. Yeah, without the HUD, it's tough because I need to look down here. But we're pretty much on track right now. Is it gonna be that I'm gonna like this better in Flight Sim 2024 than in Flight Sim 2020? So far, it looks like it. But what about that landing gear problem that we saw inside when we were trying to select delivery? Is it really gonna have that landing gear problem here now? I feel like I'm gonna be dropping more like a rock than I want to. Am I gonna make the runway? Gear down. Gear sound is there. Airspeed's a little bit low. I'm gonna try to take it from out here so I can see the airspeed in a more convenient way. Flare. Okay. Okay, well, the main gear works. My landing could do some more effort, but I don't know about the elevons constantly deflected down. I didn't need to try to deploy the drag chute, obviously. But okay, let me just see if the pattern's the same if I load it again. But so far, I sort of like it more in here than I do in Flight Sim 2020. We recall the sort of pattern was a little bit different when I restarted in Flight Sim 2020. It tended to start at a lower height when I initially loaded it, but then started from a higher height afterwards. One quirk that I think might be happening here is that is the height limit in Flight Sim 2024 higher than in Flight Sim 2020? If so, that might be changing things a bit. The maximum height. That airspeed is nice and high. I mean, I think the situation is about the same. And again, I have control. I have control, I guess, until the orbiter hits a particular altitude like 275,000. I think at 275,000 it picks up, but we're actually higher than that? Maybe? I can't really tell since that attitude in the corner there is only saying 57,000, and then the altitude in the orbiter is stuck at 275,000. Maybe the max is 275,000 and it's just thinking it's going up. I still sort of wish that I could just control it all the way to the ground without the auto part. So the main obstacle here is actually the HUD. Oh, it's actually showing something now. Oh, maybe it's not an obstacle. I can see some stuff there now. First time I loaded it, I couldn't see anything. So, but it's really light. So, we're apparently going down. But I'm still in control temporarily. Gotta say, the trim doesn't appear to do much at this point. We are pretty high up. There's not exactly a lot of air going on. Technically, the orbiter would be controlled at this height by its RCS system, the reaction control thrusters, not by its aerodynamic controls. We're still pretty close to space if it's really above 275,000 feet. The aerodynamic controls would still have some effect, mind you. Especially because we're going so fast. So the air is very, very, very thin, but there is stuff going across the aerodynamic surfaces at this height. Well, assuming we're close to 275,000. Oh, so suddenly it clicks like that. And actually, when it clicks like that, our speed has a discontinuity. Initially, When I was flying it, it was only at Mach 3. But then when it had that click and activation, suddenly we were at like Mach 5 and coming down. So it actually resets itself to a different situation. I think maybe this descent rate, though, is not exactly right. I mean, it really looks like it's dropping straight down at this point. So, and, well, that airspeed is just not reading right. I mean, I would believe the stuff in here more. One other thing to note is that it hasn't had any stutters when loading in Flight Sim 2024 compared to Flight Sim 2020. It had some very definite pauses when loading in Flight Sim 2020. That's not the case here. Okay, getting to where I take over. I have control. Should I make an energy management loop? No, I fell short last time. I don't even think I need to extend the air brake, to be honest. But yeah, it's hard to try to fly this in when I can't focus on the HUD and get all the numbers like that. I'll just try and go like this so I can see the instruments down there. Let me see. Not that I can see them very well, it's still fuzzy. Okay, gear down. Well, I think that was better. I think that was better. I sure still don't need a drag chute. Okay. Okay. Well, there we go. I landed it here. I don't know if it's legit because, you know, it's not supposed to be compatible with this. And maybe it's supposed to be more difficult? I don't know. But, yep, I like it here better. Even though I don't have the HUD and there's obviously issues. It seems to set up more properly than it does in Flight Sim 2020. Though, I mean, it's pretty severe how it falls. Anyway, so there's the Captain Sim Space Shuttle in Flight Sim 2024. Sorry about the mistake I had made in Flight Sim 2020. With that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time.